the three proposals that you have, among others, but the three to sort of address some of these issues, the catastrophic fall of the Tower of Babel, include harden our democratic institutions, reform social media, and prepare the next generation. So let's go through those. What do you mean by harden our democratic institutions?
Mm-hmm. The key to a healthy democracy is having good institutions. This is what distinguishes, if you go around the world, those places settled by Great Britain tend to have more stable democracy than those places settled by Spain, for example. And so, especially now that we're going through rapidly rising political polarization and cross-party hatred, and we're seeing some beginnings of political violence, which is very frightening, we have to make sure that our democratic institutions are trusted and trustworthy, and that they can function even if things get a lot worse in terms of cross-partisan hatred. And so, for example, I'm so disheartened by what has happened with the Supreme Court in terms of, as I see it, I'm a nonpartisan centrist. As I see it, what Mitch McConnell did in denying Obama a Supreme Court nomination, I think it was a hardball baseball move that I think damaged the legitimacy and the respect of the institution. That was very bad for the Supreme Court, for the country. And now where we are is, many people on the left are not going to trust the Supreme Court. They don't think the current makeup is what it should be. Anyway, whatever you think about it, my point is just that it should not be as much of a partisan game to get the timing. The fact that we're picking judges based on, how old they are. No, just an 18-year-old term. A lot of people have talked about this. Everyone should have an 18-year term. Every president gets an appointment every 2 years. Things like that. If we do that, that just regularizes the process. Now, the process, of course, there's always politics in the process, but we're not fighting to the death because so much is at stake over each appointment. So it's, and gerrymandering of electoral districts, there's just a lot of things we can do so that, you want the Yankees and the Red Sox to have a good baseball game. You don't want, say, the Yankees to get to control all of the rules, or the Red Sox. That'd be insane. We've got to fix the game, and then we can have the two teams play ball.
Yeah. It's hard to find nonpartisans to oversee something like elections. I know that's one of your things, like make sure we have somebody we have in a position of trust to oversee the fairness of elections. It's hard to find nonpartisans. Right now, it's like the Secretary of State, and that's always a partisan person, and they tend to push it for whatever side they're aligned with. But I don't know, like few people, the people who are truly nonpartisan don't get involved in government.
True, but it doesn't have to be that every person is nonpartisan. Suppose you had a commission to draw electoral districts in your state, and the rule is you go for generally compact, you can't have long, stringy districts, generally compact. Now, you have some people on the left, some people on the right, but they're not far left or right. And of course, they're partisans, but they live in the same town. Maybe they have a lot in common. They can work it out, just as the jury works things out. So there are ways to do this, and our present system is a mess.
I'll add it just as an asterisk. I think that as much as I agreed as a legal matter with Citizens United, I do think it opened up such a floodgate of corporate cash into campaigns that it made individual politicians beholden to like one donor instead of feeling any need to work across the aisle. Yeah. And so I don't know exactly the reform that's going to solve that, but just because it's constitutional doesn't mean it's good. And it's something we might take a hard look at.
That's the right way to think about this. Think about it like, if you love America, if you think that America is and has been and should be a beacon to the world about self-governance, that we can govern ourselves. We don't, authoritarians, they can do certain big things well, but in the long run, they fail. We have to succeed. If you want the American experiment to succeed, you've got to think about the rules of the game, and whatever it takes. So, we want people running for office to be responsive to their constituents. We want them to have a long-term view. The more they're incentivized to pay attention just to a few rich donors or just to their partisan extremes, the worse system of government we have, and the more China ultimately wins.
But I mean, as I say that, and I said how I feel, but I hear the left saying, hate speech isn't free speech all the time. That they said that. Literally, our pal Michael Knowles just caused a controversy on some college campus recently. They said he's anti-LGBTQ. He doesn't really believe in affirming gender pronouns and all that. And they said, we believe in free speech, but hate speech is not free speech, which of course it is. It's literally free speech, and it's the reason the First Amendment was created and all that. So they want to burn down the First Amendment and the Constitution. I don't want to do that. I just can see the consequence of wide free speech laws are often ones that may not be absolutely perfect for the union.
Right. Okay. So let's move on to the second bucket of reforms, which is reform social media to make it less toxic. Mm-hmm. Now, whenever you say reform social media or regulate, people think what we're talking about is the government's going to decide who gets to speak. The government's going to decide what content is legal. No. Content moderation is an issue, and that's what almost everyone talks about. But what got us into this mess isn't that some people can post crazy conspiracy theories. They could always do that. Back before the internet, they could do that. What got us into this mess is that now, since 2009, the more outrageous something is, the more likely it is to spread. It's a change in the dynamics of the platforms. That's what knocked over the Tower of Babel. That's what's doing us in. So in this bucket of reforms to social media, it's things like reforming doing things so things don't go viral so quickly. So one of the most important things we could do is actually verify identity. It doesn't mean you have to post with your real name. You can still post anonymously. But if you want to post content, banks have know your customer laws. You can't just open an account with any bank and give a fake name. You have to show who you are. And I think it should be the same on at least the large platforms, the ones that really have an effect on our democracy. You can open an account. You can see what's going on, no problem. But if you want to reap the advantages of these viral dynamics on a platform that has a special protection from Section 230, the platform has a minimum obligation to verify that you're a human being, you're not a Russian agent or a Russian bot, that you're old enough to be using the platform. And actually, Elon Musk tweeted this. He said, authenticate all humans. So whether we're just authenticating that you're human, whether we're authenticating that you're human, you're old enough, but a few things like this, that would knock out almost all the bots, and it would reduce some of the really nasty behavior. Now, who wants to be in a place where you say something and you're just attacked by thousands of accounts? We need to make these platforms, if they're going to be important to our democracy, we need to make them places where people aren't afraid to speak up. So that's the second bucket of reforms.
Yeah, and there's a second layer of what do we do to protect our children. We talked about that in terms of online. Then the third is very interesting, and I love it, and it's a cause near and dear to my heart. Prepare the next generation, and this relates to the Let Grow project. Your position is, and I share it entirely, treating kids as fragile makes them so.
That's right. So we are anti-fragile. This is a wonderful notion from Nassim Taleb. Glass is fragile. If you drop it, it breaks. Plastic is resilient. But there are certain things where if you drop them, they get stronger. And kids are like that. Obviously, I'm not saying physically drop your kids, but the point is, if you protect your kids, like if you protect their immune systems, they don't encounter bacteria, you're not helping them. You're actually crippling the development of their immune system. And if you protect your kids, that nobody ever teases them, nobody ever insults them, they have no conflicts, you're crippling their emotional development. So we have to prepare them for a world in which a lot of people don't share their opinions, and sometimes they'll criticize them. And that used to happen on the playground. Now, we got concerned about bullying. And of course, bullying is a real thing, especially when it goes on for multiple days. It ruins a kid's life. So it's a fine line between preventing bullying and preventing conflict. We have to allow unsupervised conflict. Kids have to have a lot of unsupervised experience. And what we did in 2010 or so is they're supposed to have a lot of experience. We put them on experience blockers. So this is an experience blocker. Once you have it, once your kid is on an experience blocker, they're not going to have the normal sorts of conflicts. They're going to have everything's going to be mediated through the phone. So we have to attend to child development. We have to give them a lot more unsupervised experience. That's what Let Grow is all about.
Are you tired of feeling like someone's always watching you on the internet? Maybe advertisers know a little bit too much about you, or you're concerned about the privacy of your identity? Using incognito mode will not solve the problem either. IPVanish VPN is here to protect your right to privacy and help you stay anonymous online. IPVanish helps you safely browse the internet without exposing your private details to third parties. You can use IPVanish on your computer, your tablet, your phones, even devices like your Fire Stick when you're streaming media. When you use IPVanish, all of your data is encrypted. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. It's that simple. IPVanish is actually offering right now an incredible 70% off their yearly plan for our listeners with a 30-day money-back guarantee. That is like getting 9 months for free. IPVanish, super easy to use too. All you have to do is tap one button and you are instantly protected. Take your privacy back today with the brand rated 4.6 out of 5 on Trustpilot by going to ipvanish.com/Megyn and use that promo code Megyn to claim your 70% savings. ipvanish.com/Megyn. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.